I said yes again. Not because I wanted to, not because I had the energy, but because I was afraid of the silence that might follow if I didn't. That's how it always begins. Not with a grand collapse, not with shouting or slam doors. No, burnout is quieter than people think. It doesn't roar, it erodes. A drip, a crack, a slow leak in the soul you once trusted to hold you. The outside still looks fine. My smile still fits. My calendar still proves I'm dependable. But inside, every yes I whisper when my chest screams no feels like I've carved out another piece of myself to rent away. I thought this was what being loved looked like. Being useful, always available, the one who never falters. But lately, when I look at the version of me who keeps saying yes, I don't see love. I see a ghost in rehearsal, playing the part of someone who still belongs. There's a mug of coffee next to me as I write this. It's gone cold again. Third time today. That's how I measure my days now. Not by joy, not by meaning, but by how many cups I let go lukewarm because I was too busy doing things that never really belonged to me. There was a time when coffee meant warmth, stillness, small rituals that reminded me I was alive. Now it's just proof. I've been too busy giving away my hours to drink anything while it's warm. The fracture is small, invisible even, but I feel it, like a hairline crack through glass. The kind of break that doesn't shatter all at once, but waits, expands, quietly plotting the moment it decides to give way under the weight. That's what scares me most. Not that I'll fall apart loudly, but that no one will even notice when I finally do. Because I've trained them too well, smiling, nodding, saying yes, again and again. I used to think the scariest word in the world was alone. Now I know it's no. Such a short sound, such a small syllable. And yet it carries a weight that makes my hands sweat even when I just think of saying it. Because no means I'm not who they thought I was. The helpful one, the fixer, the dependable friend, the always available coworker. What if I stop saying yes and people stop showing up at all? But deep down, another fear whispers louder. What if I keep saying yes and I stop showing up for myself? That's the fracture. That's the crack that keeps me up at night. I think about the little lies I tell every day. It's no trouble. I don't mind. I'm happy to help. They sound harmless, even kind. But every time I say them, my chest tightens a little more, like the walls of a shrinking room. And when the day ends, when the calls stop, when the inbox is quiet, what's left is me, staring into a silence that feels less like peace and more like a ghost swallowing my chest. It's not just exhaustion, it's erasure. I wonder if you felt it too, that haunting contradiction. Everyone praises you for being dependable, reliable, strong. They see you as light, as steady flame. But you know the truth. The candle's burning too fast, the wax dripping quicker than you can replace it. They see glow. You feel vanishing. And here's the part that hurts most. No one forced me. No one chained me to my yes. I volunteered, I smiled, I nodded. I let the world consume me piece by piece because I thought that was the only way to belong. Maybe I'm not a victim here. Maybe I'm the one who built this trap. Maybe I chose survival over selfhood, and now I don't know how to stop. I laugh sometimes at the irony. Out loud, people say, "You're amazing. You're always there for everyone." Inside, I whisper back, "Yeah, except me." It shouldn't be funny, but somehow, the absurdity makes me smile through the ache. Like I've become the CEO of pretending I'm fine at 2 a.m. Tonight, I keep staring at the calendar. The squares are filled, the hours occupied. It's strange how full my life looks on paper and how empty it feels inside. Maybe that's the fracture's truest form, the contradiction of a full calendar and a hollow chest. I don't know what scares me more, losing them when I say no, or losing myself if I keep saying yes. Either way, something slips further out of reach. And that's the question that lingers now, heavier than sleep. How many times can you give yourself away before nothing of you is left? I can't remember the last time I said no. Not because I didn't want to, but because the word itself feels dangerous, like an alarm that might set everything crashing down. Yes is easier. Yes keeps the peace. Yes makes me likable. But every yes I give feels like writing my name on sand, letting the tide come in and erase me again. People think erasure is loud. They imagine heartbreak as doors slamming, friendships breaking, tears spilling. But the truth is softer and heavier. Erasure is quiet. It happens in fragments so small they're almost invisible until you realize there's not much left of you at all. The disappearances, we don't name one. The dinner, yes. When someone asks, "Want to grab dinner?" I nod, I smile, and then I spend the whole night wishing I'd stayed home, craving silence like water. On the outside, I look present, laughing, responding, nodding at the right times. But inside, my body is counting the minutes, aching for rest. That yes cost me a night of stillness, a night of healing, a night where I could have just existed without performing. 2. The helping hand. Yes, I always say yes when someone asks for help. Even when I'm running on fumes, they call it kindness. They say, "You're such a good friend," and maybe I am. But what they don't know is that while I was carrying their load, mine stayed untouched. I gave away the little energy I had left, and no one thought to ask if I was okay too. That yes erased my right to be tired. 3. The work overtime. Yes, at work, I say yes to staying late. I say yes to the extra task, the forgotten deadline, the thing only I can do. I leave the office with hollow eyes, drive home whispering curses I'd never dare to say out loud. And when I collapse into bed, it's not just exhaustion I feel. It's betrayal of myself, by myself. That yes erased the version of me who once believed I deserved balance. The social obligation. Yes, birthdays, group chats, last-minute favors. I nod, I agree, I show up. Not because I want to, but because I'm afraid of the questions that come if I don't. Are you okay? Are you mad at me? Why are you being distant? So I show up half present, holding laughter like a mask. That yes erased my right to honesty. 5. The digital yes, even online, I say yes. I reply to messages I didn't want to open. I double tap posts I don't care about, just so people know I'm still here. I scroll, performing attention I don't have. That yes erased the time I could have spent hearing my own thoughts. These don't look like disappearances. They look like politeness, like loyalty, like being a good friend, coworker, partner. But if you add them up, if you look closely, you'll see the truth. Each yes is a small death, not of body, but of self. I used to measure my life in memories. Now I measure it in absences. The playlist I don't listen to anymore, the meals I don't cook, the hobbies I don't touch. Every yes has stolen something small, and together they've built a graveyard of things I once loved. Sometimes they thank me. "You're amazing. You're always there for me," and I smile, but deep down the praise feels hollow. Being useful isn't the same as being seen. Being dependable isn't the same as being loved. They don't notice the candle burning down. They only see the light. And maybe that's the hardest part, realizing no one else is keeping track of what I've lost. No one else notices how many pieces of myself I've erased, because I've trained them too well to believe I'll always say yes. I wonder sometimes, if I disappeared tomorrow, would they even notice? Or would someone else just step in? Another yes waiting in the wings? And maybe the scarier question is this: if I keep disappearing piece by piece, will I notice when there's nothing left of me? Last night, I said yes again. It slipped out before I even thought about it. And the strangest part? I can't even remember what I agreed to. The sound left my mouth like a reflex, like blinking, like an instinct I never gave permission to. That's when it hit me. This isn't kindness anymore. This isn't generosity. This is autopilot. My life has become one endless stream of nods, approvals, agreements. I've been saying yes for so long, I've forgotten the sound of my own refusal. The room was quiet when I noticed it. Too quiet. My body was in the conversation, but my soul was absent, like someone muted me from the inside. And that absence scared me more than exhaustion ever could. Because exhaustion is temporary. This felt permanent. I thought, if I keep living like this, who am I becoming? It's a subtle kind of death, isn't it? Not one people mourn, not one anyone writes eulogies for, but the death of selfhood, of the you that once dreamed, once danced in kitchens, once dared to believe life could be more. I stood in the bathroom later, staring at my reflection in the foggy mirror. I wiped the steam away, but it didn't help. The face looking back at me was mine, but it wasn't me. The eyes were hollow, rehearsing an identity I didn't recognize. Kierkegaard's voice whispered through memory. Despair isn't always loud. It can be living a life against yourself. And suddenly I realized, every yes I whispered was an act of despair. Not dramatic despair, not chaos, but quiet, polite despair, the kind no one notices until it's too late. 1. The message left unsent. I typed it out, a simple, "I can't tonight," and then I deleted it, replacing honesty with silence. That one deletion wasn't just about canceling plans, it was canceling myself. Another chance to be real, gone. 2. The call I didn't make. I thought of phoning a friend, telling them I was tired, maybe even asking for help, but the fear of being too much stopped me. I stayed quiet, and in that silence, another version of me faded. 3. The smile that didn't belong to me. At work today, I smiled at a joke I didn't get, laughed louder than I felt so no one would think I was distant. That smile was expensive. It cost me truth. Each moment was tiny, harmless to anyone else, but to me, each was another erasure. These are the little deaths no one warns you about, the ones that look like normal life. I laughed at myself, quietly, bitterly. Wow, I muttered. I'm literally quiet quitting my own life. It shouldn't have been funny, but sometimes absurdity is the only way to carry grief. I joked once that I was in my villain era, done being the victim. But the truth, I wasn't a villain. I wasn't a hero either. I was just a ghost, ghosted and haunted. I ghosted my own boundaries, my own needs. And now every night, I'm haunted by the emptiness that comes back. There's a phrase I see online a lot, rent-free in my head. That's what my exhaustion has become. It lives rent-free in my chest, haunting every pause, reminding me that I traded myself away for belonging. Here's what keeps me awake. Maybe the worst part of disappearing isn't that no one notices. It's that one day I won't notice either. I'll normalize it. Call it adulthood. Call it sacrifice. Call it love. Until all that's left is an outline of a person, useful, dependable, always available, and utterly hollow. The candle on my desk burns faster these days. I watch the wax drip, slow, relentless. Everyone else sees light. I see vanishing. What if this isn't busyness? What if this isn't kindness? What if this is something darker? A slow suicide of the soul. I look at myself and wonder, how many unsent messages? How many fake smiles? How many reflexive yeses does it take to erase a person? And when I'm gone to myself, when there's nothing left to recognize in the mirror, who will bring me back?
The first no is terrifying. It doesn't come out strong. It doesn't slam doors. It trembles. It shakes your voice like a loose window in a storm. My throat felt dry when I tried. My hands sweated like I was holding fire. And yet, somehow, the words still slipped out. Small, fragile, but real. I waited for the backlash. I braced myself for the silence, the disappointment, the sharp edge of rejection. I was sure the world would collapse. Sure, someone would pull their love away. But nothing happened. No explosion, no storm. Just a pause. A moment of space. And in that pause, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Air in my own lungs. The anatomy of number one. The invitation declined. A friend asked if I wanted to hang out late night, a quick bite. Normally, the yes would have flown out like a reflex. But this time I typed, "I can't tonight." I stared at the text for 5 minutes, almost deleted it. But I pressed send. My chest tightened, but when their "okay, no worries" came back, I realized maybe I wasn't as indispensable as I feared. And maybe that's okay. 2. The extra task refused. At work, someone slid an extra assignment my way. The old me would have smiled, said, "Sure, I've got it." Instead, I said, "I can't take that on right now." My voice cracked halfway through. My palms sweated. But when the words landed, the office didn't crumble. The earth didn't split. The task went to someone else, and the world kept turning. 3. The family favor paused. A relative asked me for help with something small, something I could have done. But I said softly, "Not tonight." I expected guilt to gut me. But strangely, what I felt was relief. For once, I wasn't splitting myself thinner than paper. For once, I wasn't burning down my candle just to keep someone else warm. It felt unnatural, almost wrong, like breaking a law I'd lived under my whole life. But with each no, I noticed something strange. The sky didn't darken. People didn't hate me. Life didn't collapse. Instead, what collapsed was the illusion that I had to keep saying yes to stay loved. The candle on my desk stopped dripping so fast that night. The flame still burned, but steadier. It was as if my no had become a shield, slowing the burn, keeping something sacred intact. I laughed to myself, again, one of those chuckles that shouldn't exist in moments like this. Damn, I thought. Was that my main character moment? Saying no to dinner at 10 p.m.? It sounds silly. But for someone who built their entire identity on being available, that no felt like a revolution. It's funny how the world trains us. We glorify yes men, we celebrate team players, we post quotes like, say yes to life. But no one tells you that saying yes to everything is the quickest way to say no to yourself. So here I am, whispering my rebellion into the night. My tiny villain era, except the only thing I'm betraying is my old self, the one who thought disappearing was the cost of being loved. What surprised me most wasn't the no itself, it was what followed. Space. Silence that didn't feel like punishment. Time that didn't feel stolen. I sat there, alone in my room, and realized I had no idea what to do with the time I'd just given back to myself. It felt awkward, like meeting a stranger you used to know. But in that awkwardness, I heard something faint. Not a loud revelation, not a miracle, just a whisper I almost didn't recognize. Myself. And maybe that's the hidden gift of saying no. It's not about pushing people away. It's about pulling your soul closer. I think of all the times I nearly collapsed under the weight of 100 yeses. And I wonder now, what if the world doesn't collapse when I protect my flame? What if the only thing that collapses is the illusion that I ever had to burn out to belong? The candle is still burning, but for once, I feel like it belongs to me. I've been thinking a lot about consequences lately. Not the kind people warn you about in school, the obvious ones you can trace on a chart. I mean the quiet ones, the ones you don't see coming until years later, when you look back and realize something essential has already slipped through your fingers. That's the kind of loss I'm afraid of. Not loud loss, not sudden. The kind that creeps in while you're busy nodding, agreeing, smiling. The kind that makes you vanish while everyone still swears you're right there. If I don't stop saying yes, I know exactly what I'll lose. I can see it. First, I'll lose myself, piece by piece, until there's nothing left to recognize. 20 years from now, I'll still be dependable, still agreeable, still showing up. On paper, my life will look full, but inside, I'll be hollow, rehearsing a part I never auditioned for. Alive, but not awake. Breathing, but not living. That frightens me more than death, that I could survive an entire lifetime without ever actually belonging to it. Then there's the wound I swore I'd never repeat. I grew up watching people I loved give everything they had until they were nothing but shadows of themselves. Parents who sacrificed so deeply they forgot how to smile. Friends who bent until they broke. Relatives who wore martyrdom like a badge. I used to promise myself I'd be different, that I'd stop the cycle. But lately, I can hear myself repeating their sentences, their quiet sighs, their whispered excuses. If I keep saying yes, I'll pass the silence on like an heirloom, a generational ghost that keeps haunting those who come after me. And I can't decide what's worse, that I might betray myself, or that I might betray the people I once swore I'd protect by becoming the same echo of pain they already inherited. And then there's the kind of loneliness no one talks about, the kind where you're surrounded by people, birthdays, dinners, chat threads buzzing, and yet you feel like a ghost at your own table. Because what is community worth if you're not even there inside yourself? That's the cruelest isolation, I think. Not being abandoned by others, but abandoning yourself so thoroughly that even when someone hugs you, you feel nothing. Even when someone says, I love you, It doesn't reach you, because you've already muted your own soul. Sometimes I imagine time itself leaning down, whispering in a voice older than my own. You think you have time. You think disappearing slowly is safer than daring to say no. But if you disappear long enough, even you will forget the sound of your name. I hate how true that feels, like a prophecy I'm already walking into. The strange thing is, even in all this fear, I find humor bleeding in at the edges. The other night I scrolled through old photos and laughed. Not the happy kind of laugh, but the cracked, bitter kind. There I was, smiling like I had it all together. No cap, I was crumbling inside even then. It's almost funny in a cruel way. How good we get at performing joy while ghosting ourselves offline. I thought I'd outgrown that, but maybe I just perfected it. And that's the realization I can't shake. The danger isn't that I'll lose them if I say no. The danger is that I'll lose me if I don't. Because one day, there won't be anyone left to blame. Not the job, not the friends, not the family. Just me, standing in the silence I chose, realizing I kept trading myself away for belonging that never stayed. That's what terrifies me most. Not that others will leave, but that I'll be the one who abandoned me first. I look at the candle flickering on my desk, wax dripping, flame trembling, but still alive. And I can't help but wonder, if I don't protect this light now, if I keep letting it burn out for every passing request, what will be left when the wax is gone? If I keep living like this, will I ever truly feel alive? To dare to say no is not selfishness. It is the first whisper of becoming yourself. I never understood that line until now. I thought it was just philosophy, something pretty you put on a page, or in a quote graphic. But tonight, it doesn't feel like theory. It feels like blood, like breath, like something I should have remembered a long time ago. The art of saying no was never about shutting doors. It was never about being colder or harder or pushing people away. It was always about something gentler, pulling myself closer, rescuing the flame that was burning down to smoke. Every yes I gave took me further from myself, and I thought love meant continuing that sacrifice. But no, love, real love, begins when you can look yourself in the eye again and say, I will not vanish for you, not anymore. The first no shook me. My voice cracked, my chest tightened, my hands sweated like they were holding fire. The second no felt less like breaking rules and more like breaking chains. And now, here I am, sitting in silence that doesn't feel like punishment anymore, but presence. The candle on my desk flickers slowly, not frantic, not gasping for air. For once, it seems like it's burning with me instead of against me. It's strange, this kind of silence. I used to run from it, fill it with noise, keep myself busy so I wouldn't hear the ache underneath. But tonight, I sit in it. No notifications pulling me out of myself, no calendar demanding proof that I exist. Just me, a cup of coffee that's still warm, and a room that feels more like home than it ever did when it was full of obligations. At first, it's awkward, like meeting a stranger you used to know. I catch myself wondering, what do I even do with this time? My fingers itch to reach for my phone, to scroll, to check if someone still needs me. But then, something softer arrives. Not a miracle, not a sudden epiphany, just a whisper, a voice I haven't heard in years, my own. It says nothing grand, nothing dramatic, just, I'm still here, and that's enough to undo me. I realize now that space itself is the medicine I've been starving for. Space is not empty. Space is sacred. Space is where the soul finally breathes after being pressed flat for too long. Space is where you stop performing, stop pleasing, stop disappearing, and start remembering what it feels like to just exist without needing to prove you deserve to. Sometimes I think the universe speaks most clearly in these moments when you finally go quiet enough to listen. Tonight, it feels like the air itself leans close and says, you don't need to give yourself away to be loved. You don't need to burn out to shine. You were enough before you ever said your first yes. I can't stop thinking about the candle. It's been with me through all of this, burning too fast when I kept saying yes, dripping away like proof of my erasures. But now, the flame is steady, calm. The wax holds, the light glows, and I swear it feels different. Like the candle is no longer a countdown, but a companion. Not a symbol of my disappearing, but of my return. I know I'll still stumble. I'll still say yes when I mean no. Old habits don't disappear overnight. But maybe that's not the point. Maybe the point is this. Every time I say no now, I'm choosing remembrance over erasure. I'm choosing to belong to myself again. And maybe healing doesn't come with fireworks. Maybe it comes with small surrenders, like letting the coffee go cold, but drinking it anyway. Not because you're busy, but because you don't care if it's perfect. You care that you're present. Or like letting silence fill the room and realizing it doesn't ache anymore. Or like watching the candle burn and knowing, finally, it belongs to you. Tomorrow, someone will ask me for something again. And tomorrow, maybe I'll say no. Not because I don't care, but because I finally do. Because I've decided that losing myself quietly is the one price I'll never pay again. The space is saving me. The space is teaching me that love doesn't always mean addition. Sometimes it means subtraction. Sometimes it means drawing a line in the sand and saying, this part of me is mine. The candle still burns, the coffee still steams, the silence still holds me. And maybe, for the first time in forever, that's enough.